And we're back. Welcome back to Two Dudes and a Mexican. I'm your trusted dude, Peter Soprano. To my left is the resident Mexican, David Quinones.
Órale, mi gente.
And we are live from a new location this week, Agave in Wallington, New Jersey. New restaurant. David's cousin is the owner. Dave, give us a little background on it before we start.
Yeah, so my cousin Maria and her husband Alex own this restaurant. So it's a beautiful restaurant, guys. Authentic Mexican food, great drinks, margaritas, mojitos, twisted lemonade, mezcal if you're a big mezcal person.
Food's really good.
Great place to come to. You can come with your families if you want. They got a back dining room. They got a nice bar where you can watch the games.
And this is where we're coming in December.
So, or you got a nice, upfront place that's a little elevated where you can have your dinner. So, great place, come down. So, whatever you can. Beautiful brunch menu too. A good brunch special. So,
listen, this is where we're going to be in December. So, Andy Ruiz, Manny Robles, Jesse Vargas, everybody, this is where we're coming. So, get used to this place. You're going to hear Agave, Wallington, this is the place to go. So we had a real busy week, Dave, in sports, and it started off unbelievably with a big Westbrook trade that came out of nowhere. Everybody was saying Heat. Now, everybody wasn't saying Heat. Vic did say Houston, so we did get that right. But Vic's not here. Shout out to Vic. Get her taken care of and be back soon. But listen, now Russell Westbrook has joined the Houston Rockets with his old teammate James Harden. I mean,
crazy.
First of all, what's your reaction to the trade?
I was surprised, to be honest with you. I didn't think.
I was shocked.
I didn't think that OKC would, take that trade.
Yeah.
All that money and. What do they get? How many draft picks did they get?
They got an extra 2 picks and swaps, but swaps don't really mean that much.
Yeah,
but.
so I don't know.
Somebody asked Wallington on Wednesday also?
Months on Wednesday?
Depends.
Listen, we got a lot of places to go now. People are actually asking us of places to go. So we're going to have a couple new locations coming up in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to be back and forth between places. But we'll be more on that later.
But back to the trade. So yeah, I was really surprised about the trade. Taking that contract, taking a guy, like Chris Paul, who obviously there was some issues between him and Harden.
Yeah.
Now it looks more apparent, especially with them getting Westbrook.
They pretty much lied. The owner came, the GM came out and said, "Listen, there's no problems with us. That we'll be fine. We'll be back on the court." And it was the truth that they were getting at each other.
Well, obviously, it's not true. So you can't believe what executives are saying and sources are saying. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy, but definitely shake things up a little more now. Does this put Houston over the hump now? And having a guy like Westbrook in contrast to a guy like Chris Paul, and hopefully, obviously, they can mesh well, him and Harden, in terms of playing together and having that relationship that you want either on or off the court.
Well, that's going to be the biggest question because, listen, when Harden was on that team before, he was a bench player. He was a sixth man. He deferred to Durant, deferred to Westbrook. So now it's completely different. Westbrook is still shooting a lot of shots, but Harden's his own star now. So Harden is his team. Westbrook is joining him. I mean, how are they going to mesh? I mean, in my opinion, you have Harden, who is this team. He clashed with Paul, which we all know because Paul's a big ball handler. Harden's a big ball handler. Now you kind of got the same thing with Westbrook, but at least they're friends off the court. Do you think that's
scoring?
Do you think that's going to help them because they were friends off the court? Maybe they can be a little bit more cohesive on the court. Or
it may help, but the thing is, you're right about one thing. They're both that A player kind of speak in terms of. How many offensive shots they take.
Top 10 players in the league.
So I think one person's going to have to take the back seat.
Yes.
One person's going to have to be the A, and the other person's going to have to be the B side of the offense. So it's Harden's team, obviously, because listen, they traded out, they traded away, Chris Paul. They didn't trade away, James Harden. So it's James Harden's team. So I think Westbrook is going to have a back seat. They're going to have to be able to play with each other. And we'll see as the season goes on if they can coexist with Harden as the A and Westbrook as the B.
Listen, the thing about it is that no matter what, it's almost like in boxing. Styles make fights. The chemistry and style on an NBA team will tell you how successful you're going to be. Even we saw LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. At that time, 3 top 10, 15 players in the league, maybe 2 of the top 5. and they couldn't win their first year because their chemistry wasn't together. I don't know how they're going to relate with each other now that Harden is on that top level, and he wasn't when he was with OKC. You're going to have two people that take 20, 25 shots a game, and they have to, and they're both people that share the ball a lot, but they share the ball in stats, but they share with each other when the game's on the line. That's going to be the big moment, because Harden has become pretty much a give me the ball, get out of the way player. He's an isolation player. Westbrook is the same type of player. I'm not sure how well they're going to connect, and that's going to be the big question with them.
Well, it's all about adjustments, right? Listen, whenever you get new personnel into your team, whether it's that big superstar or these pieces that can actually put together a team, it's all about making adjustments. Yeah. So Houston's gonna have to make an adjustment in order to see if they can again coexist in an offense. Where how many? I don't know what Houston ranked throughout the year. But it was definitely a good offense ranking out through the year. So,
but it mostly because Harden's able to get the free throw line. That's why. I mean, isolation hard to guard him, and he's found an art of getting to the free throw line. Is he going to be able to do that still because he's got Westbrook who likes to hold the ball?
It's all about adjustments.
We'll have to see.
Make that adjustment.
But with them getting a player who Westbrook is better than Chris Paul. That's the thing.
Younger, more athletic.
With them getting him, is Houston the favorite? Because you got Lakers, you got Clippers, you got all these other teams that are on the rise. I like Denver.
Yeah.
Did this move put Houston on top? Houston was already a top 2, top 3 team. Now improving with Westbrook instead of Paul, are they a top team now? Are they the top team?
That's a good question, man. I mean, listen, I'm going to still go with my pick as Houston making the finals. But it's tough,
so you think they're the favorite then? You thought they were the favorite before.
I thought they were the favorite before, and I'm just sticking with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There is that question. I mean, now you're getting a new person. You don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't know how this is going to function. I mean, this can be worse than Chris Paul. So
it'd be hard to believe.
It could be. And you're like
nothing's worse than Chris Paul.
120 million. We'll get to that in a second.
You're getting a better player, yes, all around. Younger. Again, more athletic. I give Chris Paul probably a better three-point shot than Westbrook. So, but
he's definitely a better shooter.
Yeah. So, but that remains to be seen. So, I still think Houston's got the goods. Again, now getting a superstar like Westbrook, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be able to make the adjustments. Maybe not early on. Maybe they're going to have a little hard time, in the beginning. But I think, with time, like you said, sometimes you just need that time to play with a player.
Yeah.
And a new person in that offense to get used to. So I think they're still the favorites. So I'm sticking with them.
All right.
Quick question: how's it going to affect his triple-double?
They're definitely not going to be getting triple doubles this year.
Hell no.
They both want the ball so much that there's no way both of them.
There's not enough room.
The only way that one of them can average 10 assists and come close to a triple double is if they completely say, you know what, you're the star. I'm going to make sure you get your points. And I don't know if either one's going to do that. So I don't think they're going to be able to average triple double. It'll be like that meme that they have around the internet right now. They're both fighting for the ball and say, oh, no, I got to get my last assist. So I don't think. But you know what? You don't have to get triple doubles to win. Westbrook averaged triple double like 3 straight years. He hasn't won anything. So it's not about stats.
It's about winning. It's winning the game.
It's more important than stats.
Since you guys say that, game on the line, who you go to?
Oh, it's gotta be Harden.
Oh, it's gotta be Harden.
Gotta be Harden.
Hands down.
He's a better scorer. Like Westbrook is not as efficient. Harden knows how to get to the free throw line. He's a better scorer. And it's his team. It's gotta be Harden.
Yep.
So on the other side of this trade, we talked a lot about the Houston side. OKC, they took on almost $120 million in contract from Chris Paul for the next 3 years.
It's crazy.
Nobody thinks he's going to stay there because he's going to be a complete terrorist there if he stays there. He's going to blow that team up. So now the options for Chris Paul. Will Chris Paul be bought out? Will they trade him? And if they trade him, who are they going to trade him to?
That's a good question, man. I mean, I think they're going to trade him. I don't think he's staying. I think they're going to use him for a trade to get as much as they can back.
Yeah.
So
get another first-round pick, another pick in the 25th.
Yeah. So I mean, that was the plan with Westbrook. Obviously, they said, all right, who wants to stay? And Westbrook obviously, pretty much said, yeah, I want to trade and. They were able to try, get all those picks back. I think they're doing the same thing with Chris Paul, and they're just going to rebuild from scratch, man. I mean, Again, I mean, at
15 picks over a 7-year span. Even though a lot of them are bad, but it's still first round.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy though, because at
They
one
got to
point,
combine a lot of them to move on.
remember, I mean, at one point, OKC had KD.
Yeah.
You know, they had Westbrook.
had Harden, they had
Harden.
Ibaka.
It's crazy.
They had a set
now,
team.
I think they're just going to be rebuilding. You know, there's going to be the rebuilding period for them, and they're going to try to find their next superstar off the draft, possibly with all those picks they're going to get. So.
Listen, the one thing that's in their advantage is that around the league right now, hopefully it doesn't change, but you never know because LeBron's still in the league. There's no super teams. So if you have 2 stars, you got a shot. So if they can find a way, and their pick's going to be high because they're going to suck this year.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a high pick to get one potential star in the draft. They have all those picks. They can move up to try to get a second one. So once they get 2, they're back in there. And the West is harder, so they may need 2 and other players. But if you have 2 young players not making much money, people will want to go there. Yep. So they have a chance to move up. And listen, regarding Paul's still owed $120 million. That's why I don't think he's going to be bought out, because that's a hell of a lot of money to pay somebody to not play on your team. So I don't see him being bought out. But a team that we thought was going to be the big player with Westbrook, the Miami Heat, they still don't have that second player there. They may be an option. They may be probably the best option for him to go to. I mean, the 2 teams I think that maybe is them and possibly the Dallas Mavericks. Those are the 2 teams because Mark Cuban is afraid to spend big. So those are the 2 teams I think maybe a possibility that Westbrook could go to. But it's just unbelievable that you have somebody that was at the top of this game. Chris Paul was top point guard in the league, and now he's just getting traded around and flipped around like he's nothing right now. I mean, if you're Chris,
they're using him.
Yeah, he's being used just to get picks now. He's not being used to actually
better your team or
better your team.
Get over the hump, you know, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Get to that championship. So it's crazy.
If you're Chris Paul, you're like, what are you thinking right now? You're like, listen, I'm just being traded around the league for nothing. I mean, and you're not going to go for any money to be bought out. But if you're him, do you take less money and take a buyout so you can just choose what team you go to?
I mean, he might have to. I mean, he might have to.
I mean, that's a lot of money to give up.
It is a lot of money to give up, but is, you know, what does he value more, money or, you know, being on that team? You know, happiness. You know, that there's a big difference between, you know, making all that money and not being happy and not being in the place that you want to be, or vice versa. So I don't know. It all depends on what he values more. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. So
it's crazy.
Let's move on. I want to get this out of the way because I thought it was a great moment. We saw this week. First of all, rest in peace to Tyler Skaggs. He passed away, the 27-year-old pitcher for the Los Angeles Anaheim Angels. And they had their tribute to him this week. And they had his mom throw out the first pitch. First pitch of the game, we got one of his best friends, Mike Trout, hits a home run. It seemed like it was a magical moment from the start.
Fairy tale.
And by the time it was done, they threw a no-hitter, a combined no-hitter on his night. It was like unthinkable that something, they won 13-0. Unthinkable that something like that would happen with a team that hasn't been good this year.
No, yeah, no.
And you think about Mike Trout, they grew up together. Him and Tyler grew up together. Their families were at each other's contract signings when they signed in baseball. So their families are really close. And you can hear the emotion when he speaks about him. I mean, this was one of the great, but this gave everybody goosebumps. This stopped everything to do with, I don't like this team. I had Dodgers fans, and Dodgers fans hate the Angels because they're in town. And they were like, wow, this is an unbelievable moment. This was one of the things that shows why sports is so great. What are your thoughts on this moment?
Oh man, it was incredible, man. It was like a movie. I think that's the best way to describe it. I mean, you know, they pay the tribute. Again, like you said, his mom throws out the first pitch. You know, I mean, Trout hits a home run and then they get a no-hitter. And it was just amazing. It was an amazing night for baseball, amazing night for sports, amazing night for America. That's something that you want to see, especially to, you know, I know it wasn't the first game, you know, to open up the second half, but to open up the second half like that, man, is freaking awesome. It makes the game that much more better. And I think it was just beautiful.
When after the game was done and they laid, because they all wore 45 jerseys, and they all laid it on the mound after the game, it was just it gave. You would have to be a complete asshole to not feel anything at that moment. Like, it was unbelievable.
It's like magical. It's like Disney was behind all that.
And I'll give a shout out to somebody. And I'll give a shout out to somebody that's on MLB tonight. They were on MLB tonight, that night, MLB Network. Kelly Nash. Kelly Nash interviewed Mike Trout after the game.
Wow.
And you can hear the emotion in Trout's voice. It was hard for him to speak. And by the time the interview was over, Kelly Nash had to end the whole show and go towards the next show. And she's crying as she's trying to get the end of the show. Like, it was an unbelievable 1 minute clip that if you can see it, I have it on my Twitter if you go and check it out. It is unbelievable, the emotion that was involved in that time. To see Mike Trout, one of his best friends, breaking down, and then the announcer who's talking about it, breaking down, crying as she's trying to continue with it. It was an unbelievable moment. It was everybody. She had a lot of people literally crying at that moment. Like, it was unbelievable.
Tearing up, brother. I was tearing up. That shit was amazing.
You were tearing up?
Yeah.
So speaking about crying, let's talk about Cubs fans. So the Cubs are mad right now. The Cubs are mad because the Pittsburgh Pirates they've hit a lot of their players lately. So they've thrown inside, they've hit a lot of players. Now granted, the Pirates are 7th in the league in hit by pitch guys. So they do throw inside a lot, they do hit a lot of guys. But the Cubs, especially Rizzo's very upset because he said, all right, so I guess Pittsburgh found a way to get Javi Baez out. You throw 2 at his head and then you throw outside and they'll swing at it. There's a little bit difference in that statement. I mean, listen. If you throw inside, you're posted. That's what pitching is. You throw inside, you back them up, and you go outside. If you hit somebody, that's a different story. If you hit somebody, hit them in the ribs, hit them in the leg, don't hit them in the head. That's the part that it gets dangerous. And I know one of the Cubs players, Bolte, he got hit in the head from one of the Pirates, and then Javi Baez has been hit once or twice before. So they've taken a lot of hit by pitchers from Pirates pitchers, and Rizzo complained about it this week. And we already just talked about it just now. As you said, it's part of the game and everything, but what do you think about this, man?
Listen, I think it all depends on what happens throughout the game. So, like, did these people get hit, after they just hit like a 3-run home run? You know what I'm saying? I think timing is everything.
And they're division rivals, too.
They're division rivals, but I think timing is everything. Listen, that's part of baseball. Pitching inside. It goes both ways, right?
If you don't pitch inside, you're going to get hit.
Exactly, and the batter can back up. I mean, listen, if
but that's the thing. They don't want to. They want to get the outside
exactly.
play.
So there's some batters that they're all over that.
They're crowded.
They crowd that play. Okay, that's part of your strategy, but in doing that, you make yourself susceptible to getting hit. So it goes both ways. It goes both ways. For pitchers, you got to be safe sometimes, like you said. If you're gonna hit somebody, all right, hit them with the hip. You don't want to hit into the head to permanently make some damage.
I mean, the highest you should go with a pitch is maybe at the chest to the back of the back.
But it goes back to the batter too. Again, you have that option for backing up. Listen, if that pitch is too inside, you can back up.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to get back up, okay, follow at your own risk. That's on you. Yeah. So I don't have a problem with it. Again, if it was after like a grand slam home run and then somebody's getting hit, and it's obvious, I have a problem because there's no room in the game of baseball. Intentional, but if it's an action man, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, there's a difference between pitching inside and intentionally hitting somebody. That's the difference. And listen, with the stats, the Braves are number 2 in terms of hitting pitches. But that's because they pitch inside. I mean, they make sure you have to claim the inside of the plate. So,
I agree.
And you need that.
It's part of the game.
You need that to win. So listen, I think it's all right. Yeah, I think it's all right to pitch inside. I don't agree with hitting, so I think Rizzo. Understandably, he's upset because his team has got hit. So
you're always going to get upset, especially when it's your player, it's your teammate getting hit. I mean, corn.
Yeah. So all right, so
what just happened?
Yes, this is happening live. So so let's move on to the next thing, and NFL. Let's have a little bit of NFL. We haven't talked about that in a while.
It's been a while, man.
Melvin Gordon. Before we even get to Melvin Gordon, let's talk about the NFLPA and the commissioner's office and everything.
Yeah.
So this week they proposed an 18-game schedule, which they've been trying to get for a while, with a 16-game player limit. So that means your backup is required to play. Your backup quarterback will play 2 games. Now NFLPA rejected it, which I understand because that's understandable. But you have now. What do you think first about 18 games, and 2, what do you think about this new wrinkle about 16-game limit for a player?
I mean, 18 games is a lot, man. Yeah. Especially when you factor in, those preseason games, which obviously players,
training camp.
they hate the training camp, all that stuff. I mean, listen, the longer window, the more susceptible you are to injury, the more susceptible you are to more long-lasting effects, especially depending on what the injury is to the player. So, I mean, I'm not for it. 18 games, I just think it's too long. The 16-player game limit, I mean, I can kind of see what they're trying to get.
I see what they're trying to do.
They're trying to get, those other players.
Listen, you're not playing anymore. You're still playing 16 games and everything.
I can see what they're trying to do.
But they're not counting the stuff. You're still practicing for 18 games.
So,
they're probably going to throw extra bye in there, so it's actually 3 more weeks that you're doing.
It's crazy.
So it's just a longer season. So it's not just about the game.
I'm not for it, obviously. And again, 18 games is a lot.
And you would have to extend the rosters. You can't just have 53. If you're going to be limiting to 2 games where you can't play, you got to extend the rosters. Instead of 53, you have like 60 games.
Okay, so now that impacts cap space and all that.
Yes, exactly.
So this is a lot of implications just on one decision.
Yeah.
I think it's too much. I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Listen, if you want to do anything, maybe shorten the preseason games. People don't really go to them.
But they make money off of it.
I will first say,
it's all about money.
I'm a Giant season ticket holder with my brother. Shout out to Heck. I just think that you can shorten that up. But like you said, money speaks, right? And I know it's all about money, but even the players want a shortened preseason. So
everybody does. That's set for the owners because they're making money off of it.
Now, don't get me wrong. I like preseason because you get excited about football. Football starts coming back. Now you get that itch.
Hold on. I like the third preseason game. That's it.
You don't need that many games, though, man. You don't need that many games.
The first preseason game where they're playing one drive and getting out, that's it. I don't care about that. But third preseason game where there's like the dress rehearsal, that one I care about. But yeah, preseason, listen. Speaking of people and you mentioned salaries and how people are going to get paid, because if it's 53 men, even if it's 63 men and you have the same cap, people are going to get less per person. Yep. So we're talking about salaries. Melvin Gordon came out this week and said, listen, I want a new contract or trade me. And then the reporting came out of him actually talking about the story last year when Le'Veon Bell held off for the year, and he said, I would have done it too. So now Le'Veon Bell may have set a trend where people are going to demand a trade, want their contract, or they may sit out. Melvin Gordon is a young guy. He's 27 years old. Do you think he's going to sit out that year if he's forced to, or do you think he's going to get a new contract or get the trade?
I don't think he'll sit out the year. I think he's either going to get the new contract or he's going to cave. Remember, it's a different franchise, different age. I mean, listen, the guy accounted for a lot of offense last year, even though he was injured for like 4 games? I mean, how many touchdowns did he have? 14? So that's a lot of offense. He had almost 1,300 yards of scrimmage. So that's a lot of yards. That's a lot of offense. That's a lot of touchdowns to make up for. Listen, franchises are different. With Pittsburgh, obviously they had the emergence of James Conner. So listen, if James Conner's not there, who knows? Pittsburgh might cave. I mean, so they were lucky they had a guy like James Conner. That was their workhorse. That was able to pretty much be their guy at that spot. Again, I think either he doesn't hold out for the year. I think he either caves or he gets his contract. But we'll see. So I was surprised. I was surprised to see that. I mean, and maybe maybe Bell set a trend. Gordon does. Maybe other running backs.
Listen, because running back is probably the most disrespected out of the productive players on the offense. They're probably the most, because they're replacing the second. And which is understandable because most running back lifespans are 4 or 5 years.
I was saying it's a young man's position.
And once you get to 29, 30, you're thrown out the door unless you're a stud player. So you have to get your money when you can as a running back. So you're on your first contract. You come in at age 21. You're a 4-year deal. 25. You got to get paid right then. Because your next contract when you're 30 is going to be nothing. Nobody's going to really want you at 30. So you got to get paid then. So Melvin Gordon is in that area right now where he's 25, 26 years old. He's got to get paid right now. If he doesn't get paid right now, he's not going to. So, and he's already had a serious injury before. He gets a serious injury next year, then he's screwed. So it's in the very same situation at Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell said, listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers have used me as their workhorse. 300, 350 touches every single game. I'm the center of this offense. I can get hurt easily next year. So I'd rather sit out a year and don't take your $14 million because you know what? I'm looking at my long-term health. I want a long-term deal. And he got it with the Jets. even if it's for 3 years, 4 years, it's still overall more money if he stays healthy and he got his guaranteed money. He's not guaranteed to get any more $14 million if he gets hurt with Steelers. So people are going to start looking at that now. It's like, listen, I may sit at that 1 year because I'm looking at my long-term health. Melvin Gordon, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that because he is, different, like you said, different franchise, different player. But I mean, he has some leverage on his back.
Yeah, he does. I mean, like I said, I mean that's a lot to make up. I don't know who they have waiting in the wings. That could make that up.
Yeah,
they can.
I mean, they have some people that could take over, but they're all young.
They're all
unproven in terms of carrying the load.
They have Eckler and
and then they drafted a running back. I think his name is Jamal Williams or Jamal Murray, something like that. They have inexperienced backups, so it's going to depend on that. So I want to go on to a subject. We're going to the boxing, MMA, Ultimate Fighting, all that stuff. But I want to talk about Ashley Lamb. I don't know if you heard about her, but she had a fight this past weekend. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yesterday.
She by 135 pounds. She struggled so bad to make her weight that not only we've seen people strip down to make weight before, and not only did she have to strip down, she had to be carried to the scale.
That's crazy.
She had to be carried to the scale. She weighed in, stripped while they had her covered up. She came off, drank a bunch of water or whatever liquid she had, and they carried her back off stage. Why do we have to see? We've seen this in boxing a couple times too. Why do we see this all the time? Why do boxers not fight at a weight that they can make it at a healthy weight? They keep killing themselves to get to these weights, her at 135 pounds. And then, of course, the next day you're going to be so weak. I mean, I think we should go to same-day weight. If we go to same-day weight, a situation like this, she knows she can't fight that same day, feeling like that. She has to get herself prepared that she can actually fight that same day. So you're going to be more inclined to fight towards your normal weight if you have a same-day weight. What are your ideas in terms of same-day weight and situations like this happening?
I mean, listen, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, one idea that I've heard in the past.
Shut up, Sal.
That I don't know if it would work is making more divisions. I don't know if that would work.
They keep trying to get an advantage, but it's working to their disadvantage.
And that's the problem with trying to fight at your normal walking around weight, is because obviously the next person's just going to be way bigger and hydrate to 20, 30 pounds more than you.
Yeah.
So that's the fear. I know. I mean, it's tough. I mean, maybe they can make limits. I don't know. And I'm telling you right now, these things that these boxers and these fighters do, it's going to have long implications when they're older, 40, 50, 60. I'm telling you right now, you're doing damage to your body, long-term damage to your body.
But you just mentioned something. You mentioned about somebody rehydrating 20 pounds heavier than before. If you have a same-day weight, they're not going to be able to do that either because they're going to be bloated if they put on 20 pounds of water weight that same day.
You're right.
So they can't do that either. I think it evens it out if you have the same day.
Maybe that's a good solution to look at. So, are there any ways around that though? Like, are you limited to possibly taking different supplements or something that can trick that scale somehow? I don't know. I mean, I'm not really into all that.
If they were able to have supplements to trick the scale, they wouldn't be doing it right now. Because you have people that are struggling to make the weight, like Ashley Lamb and like that they're going to be taking those supplements now to try to make weight the day before. If you do it the same day, I think it's much better because one, you can't put on that much weight for the same day. You're only fighting hours later. The second thing is that you have to be more towards your weight because you're not going to be able to fight a fight if you're so weak you can barely stand. So I think it evens it out, and you're not going to have these 20-pound discrepancies on fight night. And also, you're going to be more stronger. It's going to be more towards where you should be.
Yeah, you're right. It might be more of an even playing field. I mean, I get it what you're trying to say.
But now
money talks. So those people that make the decisions, I mean,
that's what I was going to bring it to. Dana White. She's in USC, and Dana White is a person we all know is all about money.
Oh yeah.
So if you're him, how do you look at this situation? One of your fighters that you're paying, and first of all, she lost in 16 seconds. In 16 seconds. Now there's a backstory between and that.
stoppage.
The stoppage, they didn't think it was a little bit controversial. Then they talked to Tyrone Woodley, who's a star in USC. He said, "I think it was legit because
I thought it was
she got hit flush, and she could have been hurt better.
Her hands were on the floor.
Yeah,
at one point.
she got hit.
And the fighter was just hovering over her.
Yeah,
and she took a second.
She could have destroyed
She
it.
clobbered her once, and then the ref, and then she kind of like stopped. Like,
Yeah, because she could have destroyed her.
She could have just laid on her and did a ground and pound.
She had mercy towards
She
her.
would have been done.
So-
but the ref, good thing the ref came
Herb
in.
Williams.
Fight, so it's crazy.
Herb Williams had a good stop in that fight. Like
I thought so.
I thought it was good. So you just got beat in 16 seconds. You're Dana White. You just saw the fighter get beat in 16 seconds who was struggling to even make weight. Shouldn't you have a concern with it? Shouldn't you want to make a change?
Definitely, man. Especially if you care, for your fighters. If you care, about your sport and the longevity of, these fighters.
And he don't care about his fighters.
I mean, they shouldn't be dollar signs.
And this is the guy that wants to get into boxing. He said he's going to change boxing.
Yeah, he might change boxing.
Yeah, for the worse though. We saw when Rock Nation tried to go into boxing. We saw what happened with that. They still can't pay their medical bills.
Listen, that remains to be seen, but this is definitely a red flag, I think, for MMA, for sports, for fighting sports in general, because
this happens in boxing.
I mean,
too.
it's crazy. It's just nuts.
We've seen it happen in boxing numerous times.
Yes, thank you.
So
Thank you.
So now we're gonna move on to another fighting sport, boxing. Kovalev versus Yard was made official this week.
Sure.
They will be fighting end of August, maybe early September time. That kills the Kovalev fight versus Canelo. Now they're saying, all right, so maybe it's just Canelo Golovkin. Do you think we're gonna get that next, or do you think that Canelo's gonna find a way to get some other fight in there?
No, I don't think we're gonna see Canelo and Triple G.
You don't think so?
In September? No, I think we'll probably see like Andrade and Canelo maybe. Obviously, Eddie Hearn has made fights with Golden Boy. You got to look at the politics of everything, the money. Maybe they're just gonna make it simmer a little more, and then have it Cinco de Mayo, 2020. That's my thinking. So
now, but does that be good with Andrade versus Canelo though?
Oof, I don't know.
That's the big thing.
That remains to be seen
because
too.
the rumor was that they said they would approve 2 fights: the Golovkin fight and the Kovalev fight. Now Kovalev's off the board. There's only one person. Now, would a fight be made? I mean, are they going to force this issue, or are they going to say, you know what, you get one more pass and then we?
They might give him one more pass. Listen,
I mean, they need to stabilize their people, like the people that subscribe to the network.
No, of course they do. I think they'll give him one more pass. Listen, at the end of the day, Canelo, is signed to the zone, but he's the fighter. So, I don't like to get into boxing politics. I just think that they kind of ruined boxing. So
they ruined a lot,
and there've been a lot of fights that they should have gotten. Yeah,
you got networks.
They're
promoters,
different. They're different things, but they're all connected. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So and it's preventing the boxing fan from seeing the fights they want to see, that they should be putting out there for the boxing fan, especially when you're competing against UFC, mixed martial arts. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is becoming big too. So I mean, it's a tough market.
But you know how you stop all that?
How do you stop it?
It's the fans.
That's it.
They have to decide. Don't buy the. You know what? You're boxing fans. I get it. You're MMA fan. You'll take the B fight, and you say, "Oh, that's a good fight. You're giving us a good fight," but they're not giving you the fight you want. That's the thing. So they'll take B and C fights, and the A fights will come maybe once or twice a year, and they're like, "Oh, we're happy with that." If you don't buy those C fights, they're gonna force them to make only A and B fights.
I agree.
Listen, if you go to a fight and the pay-per-view stinks, if Canelo fights somebody that isn't good, or whether you don't want to see Andrade, and that fight does 200,000, it's going to force him to have a good, well, not 200,000 because it's on his own, but if it doesn't do well in certain viewership, they're going to force him to be a better fighter next time. They're going to force him to see that, because they're going to say, why are we paying Canelo $30-something million, and he's bringing it, and this is what our ratings are. This is how many subscribers he's brought in. They're not paying for it. We need to get the subscribers up. We need to get the viewership up, and you do that by demanding those type fights.
So the people need to take back the power.
Right. I've been saying that for a long time. Boxing fans take a beating because they let this shit happen. They let the B fight happen.
Power to the people,
and that's
baby.
what happens.
Come on.
They're always going to get the B
on,
fight
boxing fans.
because they're like, I don't feel like it. They have this good fight. Look, we can have Thurman versus Pacquiao. We want to see Thurman versus Spence. Thurman versus Pacquiao's all right. All right, we'll buy it. That's what happens. And everybody's gonna buy it next week.
Because we're
That
boxing.
fight's gonna do.
People still gonna buy it.
That fight's gonna have to do 300 to 400,000 next week at least.
Well, remember, because we're boxing fans too. We want to see something, right? And that's the problem. It's like what are you gonna give up? Are you gonna give up your boxing for that one weekend where you want your family and friends to come over, you want drinks, you want food. Well, we'll watch boxing till past midnight, or do you want to give it up for that weekend and say, you know what? In essence, it's kind of like a protest, right? I'm going to protest this weekend.
If you're
not
gonna
going to
do
watch
that,
boxing, and I'm going to do something else.
if you want to have everybody over,
Stop.
have your boxing weekends and all that stuff, then you can't complain saying they're not giving me the
You're
fight I
right.
want.
You can't complain.
Because they're giving you fights that you're watching. It's all about supply and demand. That's what it's all about. If you're gonna I'll take the boxing. They're not gonna give you what you want.
I like that. Supply and demand.
That's what it's all about.
It's true.
Yeah,
That's what it comes down to.
and it's like that in every single thing. Whether it's gas you're buying or whether it's something in the store that you want. If there's a demand for it, they're gonna give you it.
And you're gonna pay for it.
Exactly.
And
But
that's where Triple G and Canelo, it's gonna happen again.
yeah, that's the reason. I'm not big on the fight happening again, but because it's still a big
I'm not
fight,
either,
it's gonna happen, and it's still gonna be bought by
And
more.
there's money to be made still, so I get it.
So we're here at your cousin's restaurant.
Yes.
And we said now.
right
Listen,
over there.
we apologize. We apologize for the wing challenge. That was the last minute thing we kind of put together. Said we're just gonna see how it goes, and next time we'll give more details about it, what type of wings and all that stuff like that. But now we're in a Mexican restaurant. This is real authentic Mexican food, so we can't have wings.
Yeah, man.
We gotta have tacos.
Tacos, baby.
So we got steak tacos here, we got chicken tacos here, and we want to try it on air to see how it is.
And this is a preview to Andy Ruiz and your people when you
Exactly.
come. This is what you're gonna get.
Exactly.
Authentic Mexican food. And these are corn tacos, right?
When Jesse comes here, when
not flour.
Manny comes in, when everybody comes here, this is the real authentic Veracruz type. This is the real shit right now. So so this is what we're gonna try it right now on air. Let you know how it is.
All right, so he's got the chicken.
I got the chicken.
I got the steak. Obviously, you need some hot sauce. You know what I'm saying? So, so listen. This is one of the owners, Alex de Dios. Say hello. So one of the owners of Agave Restaurant. So we're here, doing our first show. About to have some tacos. So what do you have to say? What do you have to say to the people? Come on.
What should I say?
I don't know. You say something. Promote
Guys.
Promote the restaurant, man.
Good food. Everything's fresh. Everything's made.
Feels like home. Feels
Right
like
there.
home here, man.
Everything's fresh, guys.
You know what I'm saying? So everything's fresh. Everything's delicious. Even the drinks. The drinks are freaking delicious.
Extra hot.
And
it's really good.
And the green one's pretty good.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Alex.
really
All
good.
right, so you need some hot sauce, obviously.
Yeah, I need some
so
hot.
I'm putting a little green on this. Let's see. Get a little red here. All right. Taco tasting. Here we go. Let's see. And you don't separate the tacos. Two tortillas. I mean, two tortillas. You don't separate them.
It's really good.
Taco madre.
Really good. So you can tell everything is fresh. Everything is flavored and seasoned really good. They have the sauce just adds a really good kick to it, which is perfect.
Steak is delicious, juicy.
Listen,
Sauce. And these are real tacos, guys. Listen.
Yeah.
Real tacos are made with onions
Yep.
and cilantro, not anything else.
Yeah.
All right? These are real
Don't
tacos.
put any of that fake stuff on there. They're not Americanized. This is actually real shit. Listen, it's really good.
Real shit? Really?
It's real shit. Listen,
The good shit.
We're talking to the people, all right?
That's right.
We're not talking to the food critics. But listen, I'm here at Wallington, Agave in Wallington, New Jersey.
Agave.
They got good brunch specials too. $18 for bottomless mimosas and sangria.
Can't beat that, guys.
So listen.
We've already had 10 sangrias and 10 mimosas each. So
Yeah, so
you can't beat that.
listen, for real, show up. It's a great place. We got it's family owned, so
Right.
and this is the place where we're gonna see Manny Robles, we're gonna see Andy Ruiz, we're gonna see Jesse Vargas, We're gonna see all of them show up here in December
Paisanos right here.
when they
right
have
here.
the fight. So listen, that's our show for today. We'll catch you on Wednesday. Once again, from Bogies and Two Dudes and a Mexican is out.
We out.
Peace out,
We
fellas.
love you. Te queremos.